Hi, welcome to some more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me, for all your feedback. It's been really great to get it all and to hear it all. Um, let's just do really gentle hips and spine, a little bit of mobilization, a lot of breathing, something just to calm the nervous system down. Because there are some days, I'm sure you know them. For me, they tend to be a little less frequent, however, infrequent, it's still just like, ah, what the fuck is going on? So, a little bit of a gentler practice can help sort of soothe the nervous system a little bit more and might have more physical benefits, right? So, finding space rather than fire, right? A little bit more fluid. Anyway, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Let's start on our backs. And you might need a little bit of time to wiggle around and move and just loosen up. Good windshield wiper the legs. Maybe you hug your knees into your chest and take a little rock from side to side. And then come to rest for a few breaths. The knees could be bent, feet wide, knees hanging in toward each other. You might have the legs outstretched. Some of you might really feel a benefit from bringing the feet together, knees wide. A butterfly stretch. If you have blocks, you can prop them underneath the thighs just to give a little bit of ease here, or pillows or whatever. Wherever you need to be for a few breaths. And then inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale, sigh. And then breath away. Couple more, just like that. And continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice how your breath is flowing, if it feels really open and spacious, or if it feels choppy or short. Just try to lengthen the breath a little bit more without forcing too deep of a breath. Because when we breathe really deeply all the time, that can have negative consequences as well. So just a slow and sweet breath. Last couple moments here. And slowly start to bring a little bit of movement back to your body. It might just be fingertips or toes, or a little rock of the head from side to side. You might reach your legs along the mat, arms overhead, do a long morning stretch. And then hug your knees in toward your chest. And take a little rock from side to side. Knees can be separate, they don't have to be touching. Sometimes feels good to start to massage the base of the spine and the pelvis. And you might start to draw hip circles here. Maybe the femurs go in opposite directions from each other, like I'm doing, kind of like egg beaters or frog legs. Or maybe the circles, maybe circling in the same direction, whatever you need. But just mobilizing however feels good here. Maybe extending one leg or the other. And then release the left foot to the floor. You might extend that left leg if you want to, and then draw the right knee or shin toward you a little bit more. If the left leg is extended, flare the toes and extend through the heel. So it's quite active through that left leg as if you're standing on the floor. And then draw that right shin in toward you a little bit more, ever so slightly deepening the compression on the front of that hip. You might stay here for the last couple of breaths. Some of you might choose to exhale, curl the nose toward the knee. It might not touch. That is fine. Last couple of breaths here. Take the tension out of the shoulders. And release the head and shoulders back to the floor. Draw your right knee across the center line of the body now without lifting up the hip. So the hips stay on the floor. And then think of drawing that right knee toward the left shoulder. So it's more of an outer thigh stretch. You can even bring the right thumb into the right hip crease, just as a reminder to keep wrapping that right hip down and forward as much as you're drawing the knee up and left. One more breath here. And then come back to center. Switch the grip, so bring the right hand to the right knee, and then take the right knee out to the side. A little wiggle or shake. You might be still. Maybe it feels good to mobilize a little bit here. And then maybe start to draw that right knee back to the back right corner of the room, a little bit more to the back right shoulder. You could stay here, or maybe you kick the foot to the sky, taking half happy baby. You can grab the back of the thigh, outside of the leg, the ankle, or the foot. Now, half happy baby is pretty intense to start with, so don't necessarily feel like you have to go super deep. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly, gently release, shake it out a little bit. Right? Maybe no one's watching, so you can go as crazy as you want to. Even if people are watching, doesn't matter. Switch feet. Right foot comes to the floor. Bring the left shin or knee toward you. Again, you might stay here. You might extend the right leg along the floor, wrapping the shoulder blades onto the back, and then deepen the compression. So draw that left knee or shin toward you a little bit more. No, right? What leg are we on? Oh dear. This is the left leg, Emily. Last couple of breaths, you might curl your nose toward your knee. Maybe this is one of those days. We'll see. And then slowly bring the head, chest, or neck and shoulders back. Take the right hand to the left knee, and then draw the knee over to the right shoulder. Again, you might bring your thumb into the hip crease as a reminder to draw that left hip down and back. So it's less of a twist, right? We're not lifting the hips up. We're just getting that outer thigh stretch. So as much as that left knee is coming toward the right shoulder, wrap the left hip down to the floor and forward. Last breath here. And then slowly come back to center and take the knee into the left hand and then out to the left. And then maybe you circle it around a little bit. Maybe you still start drawing that left knee back to the back left corner of the mat a little bit more. You might stay here, kick the foot to the sky, grabbing the back of the thigh, the outside of the leg, the ankle, or the foot for half happy baby. Really reaching that right foot away if the leg is extended. Right, your knee might be bent. That's okay. Oh, cramp. Come out of it if you're cramping. Last couple of breaths. And then slowly come back to center. Shake it out. And then to bring your feet to the floor, mat width apart or wider. And then let both knees go over to the right. So wide leg twist. This can start to feel really good. Reach that left hand up and over to the left a little bit more. And then maybe you squeeze that left bum, lifting the hip up a little bit. Or maybe you do the opposite and try to drop the bum down. Some of you might hook the right heel over top of the left thigh or knee for getting a little bit more traction. So you're getting quite a release through the hips and through the quads, maybe even. Last couple of breaths, wherever you need to be. And if the right heel is hooked, gently unhook it. Inhale, come back through center, and then bring both knees over to the left. Again, figure out where you want to be, whether you're squeezing the bum, dropping the knee, or just allowing the body to rest here. Reach the right arm back and away, out to the right. Maybe you hook the left heel over top of the right knee, or thigh rather. Couple breaths. Wherever you need to be, active or passive. And then unhook the foot, slowly come back to center, shake out a little bit. Okay, now bring your feet back to the floor, this time hip width apart, parallel-ish, and then close enough into your bum that you can tickle your heels with your fingertips when you reach forward. Right, what this does is more or less stacks your knees over top of your ankles, so it becomes a really strong base of support. Belly button to spine a little bit, and then we're going to flow in and out of bridge. So as you inhale, press the heels into the floor, slowly come up, and exhale, slowly come down. So a few of these, just warming the hips up a little bit. And the next time that you come up into bridge, pause there. So we have a tendency to really squeeze the butt, tuck the tailbone under so that's up toward the sky, and kind of be really in working towards extension of the hips, right? Or sorry, lifting up. So we're in a little bit of flexion. So release the bum a little bit and come into extension in the spine. So there's a little bit of an arc here. Maintain that and slowly lower down to the floor. So you're going to have that space still between the lower back and the floor. Maintain that, and then inhale, come up in extension. Pause, and then tuck the tailbone under and slowly roll down one vertebra at a time in flexion. So now there's no space between the lower back and the floor. Maintain that. Slowly tuck the tailbone up, up, up. Hard squeeze on the bum to come up. Right? So then you can start to flow in and out, up and down through extension and flexion, or you might do one of each. So starting to get these kind of ripples through the spine. If none of this makes sense, that's cool. Just keep coming up and down however feels good for you. You're still getting the work. Last couple breaths here. And on your exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. Heel into the feet, mat width apart. Let the knees hang in toward each other. Couple breaths here. And then draw your knees toward your chest. A little rock from side to side. Oh, that feels good. And then you might rock and roll up and down your spine. If that feels okay for you, right, you can play with it. Shoulder blades to sit bones to shoulder blades. If you fall, doesn't matter. You're already on the floor. Some of you might roll to one side to eventually come up to seated. Awesome. Welcome. Little wiggle, little shake out. You might windshield wiper the knees. And then come to legs extended. Now, if you have something to bring behind your knees, you might do that. Blocks or a blanket or some pillows or something like that could be really handy. A little draw of belly button to spine. Flare the toes, sitting up nice and tall. And then I want you to come forward kind of on a hinge to start with. So the spine stays long. Broaden through the collarbones. Really beaming the heart forward here. If this feels okay, sorry, I'm cramping a bit through the hip today. If that feels okay on the spine, then you might start to round forward a little bit more. But we first found that length to then round. So you're not just rounding right away to start with. Right? You've got that hip hinge and then round. And what that does with the little lift of the knees is it means that it takes some of the tension out of the lower back. You might stack fists under your forehead or some kind of rest, or just let the head hang heavy. Last couple breaths here. And slowly roll back up. Good. And then bring the soles of the feet together, knees wide. Okay, this is a really great place to sit up on a chip foam block if you have one, or a little bit of a lift or pillow or phone book. Those still exist. Tilts the pelvis forward, helps you stay nice and tall and lifted here. If you want to bring blocks or pillows underneath the knees for butterfly, that's a really good place to go. And then try not to hold on to the toes. You don't want to lift them up. It just sickles the foot. So maybe hold on to the ankles for a little bit of traction. Inhale, lift tall. Exhale, again, come forward on a long line. So I'll show you from the side. Right. We are getting length through the spine. If that feels okay, then maybe you start to round forward. And it doesn't matter how high or how low you are, so long as you find that little bit, right, of pelvic tilt first, hinge at the hips, and then round. As deep or as shallow or as gentle as you need to go. A few more breaths here. And slowly, inhale, roll up. You can use your hands to draw the knees back toward each other. Shake them out a little bit. A little windshield wiper of the knees. And then bring your hands behind you. Fingertips probably pointing out to the side, maybe forward, but sometimes that means that we end up compromising the space in the front of that shoulder joint. Probably they're not going to go all the way back. So just whatever feels comfortable for you. Ankles underneath the knees-ish. Press into the hands, and feet inhale, lift the hips up. So reverse tabletop. Once you're up, you might feel like, okay, there's a better place for my hands to be. Wherever you need to go, you can keep looking forward. Maybe let the head or the neck come in line with the rest of the spine. Ooh, cramping there too. Geez, maybe you let the head drop back. Only if you know your blood pressure is okay and that you're not going to faint by doing that. Last couple breaths here. And slowly lower the hips back down. And then hug onto the knees and round forward. And shake it out a little bit again. Okay. Let's get into the spine now, as well as the legs a little bit. Have your right leg in front of you. Left foot doesn't really matter where it is. Okay, it's out of the way. That's all it needs to be. So it could be here, it could be out here. Doesn't really matter. And then bend the right knee. You're going to take your left hand and grab the outside of the right foot. And then I want you to puff the back. So rounding through the spine as much as you can. Again, I'll show you from the side. Right? So we're here and then tucking the tailbone under. And you might stay here, or, right, if you're getting a lot of sensation through the upper back and that shoulder, that's a really great place to stay. Or maybe you start to slide the right heel away from you a little bit, seeing, oh, okay, mid-back feels really good. Or even further away, maybe into low back. And then those right fingertips can come out to the side and you press them away Oh, and then you really can puff through the left side of the spine. So as high up or as low down as you need to be for your own body, right? Where you're feeling tight. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly, gently unwind. That feels good. Take the left foot, cross it over top of the right leg now. And then you can use that thigh to sort of get right up on those sit bones and draw it toward you. Inhale, find more length here. And then exhale, we're going to twist to the left. So sometimes people do the whole elbow hooky on the knee thing. For me, that doesn't work. I find, it doesn't work for me. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, just draw that thigh toward you a little bit more. You can use your left fingertips behind you, pressing into the floor to find more length, more height through the spine. As you exhale, maybe you twist a little bit deeper. You might look over that left shoulder. And slowly, gently unwind, come back to center. Keep your left ankle over top of the right thigh. This might be enough of an outer hip release for you. If you would like more, then lean back a little bit, start to bend the right knee, and then you can bring your hands behind the thigh. And you'll notice the closer you draw that heel toward you, the deeper you'll feel that stretch on the glutes, on that outer left hip. But as soon as you round through the spine, you lose the stretch. So keep the spine nice and long. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might choose to take them to fire logs, folding the bottom shin underneath. This doesn't feel good for me, so I'm not going to demo it actually on that side. But if you know fire logs, you know where you can go. Otherwise, don't worry about it. A few more breaths here. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And as slowly as you got into it, rewind, unhook the leg, shake it out a little bit. Let's do all of that on the opposite side. So bring the right leg toward you, bend the left knee, take the right hand on the outer edge of that left foot, and then puff up the ribs, right? Round through the spine, even tucking the chin under slightly. This is a fantastic place to stay for a few breaths even. You might even feel this up through the neck, the back of the shoulder. Maybe you bring your left fingertips to the floor, start to push them away as you slide the left heel away from you, as much or as little or as far as you need to go, till you really just feel this beautiful long line on the right side of the body. Some of you might be all the way down with the left leg totally extended. Some of you might be all the way up here, wherever your tightness is on the body. Last few breaths. And slowly, on your inhale, unwind, come back to center, shake it out a little bit, and extend the left leg. Draw your right thigh toward you, cross the right foot on the outside of the left leg, and then really use the grip to snuggle in. Right? Inhale here, and then exhale, we're going to twist toward the right. So left hand comes to the right knee or outer right thigh a little bit, finding length with every inhale. And on your exhale twist, you can bring the right hands behind you to really find more length through the spine. I'll show you from the side. Ideally, right, when you're twisting, you're not rounded. So that's why I say press into the floor to find a long, tall spine. Last couple breaths in this twist. Probably might also feel like a nice outer hip release on the right side. And then inhale, come back to center. Cross the right ankle over top of the left thigh. Again, this might be enough for you today. If so, honor that, stay there. Never feel like you have to go deeper, right? If you would like to go deeper, lean back a little bit, bend that bottom knee. Maybe you draw the thigh toward you a little bit more with interlacing the hands. Again, if you have fire logs, then maybe you come into it. For some reason on this side it doesn't feel so bad. You can always bring blocks underneath knees if they're hovering. Otherwise, stay here with me in this figure 4. Spine long. Last couple breaths here. And slowly, gently unwind. And then shake it out a little bit. And then come down onto your belly. So you might just swing the legs around behind you. A little wiggle of the hips from side to side. Once you get there, untuck the toes, press the tops of the feet into the floor so much so you feel your kneecaps lift away from the earth. Send your tailbone to the back wall. Feel your belly button engage toward your spine. And then inhale, lift the head, the back of the head up to the sky. Beam the heart forward. You might reach your arms back along beside you, palms up or down. Maybe you reach the legs so far back that they de-weight as well. Couple breaths here. Maybe you inhale, lift everything up a little bit higher. And exhale, let it all go. One cheek to the floor. Deep belly breaths to release through the lower back. And then roll over to your back. Hug your knees into your chest, little rock from side to side. And then take your knees wide out toward your shoulders or armpits. You might stay here or keep the feet up to the sky for happy baby. You could grab the backs of the thighs or anywhere along the legs or the feet that feels good. Wrap your shoulders or your shoulder blades onto the back. Rock a little bit from side to side. It is called happy baby, so do anything that makes you feel happy here. You can try to eat your toes if you want to. Nom, 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 nom. And if there's anything else that you feel like you need before your rest today, please feel free to take it. Otherwise, start to think about where you would like to go. You could be flat on your back, legs bent or straight. You could rest on your side in a seated meditation or in child's pose. Somewhere where you're going to feel at perfect ease. It's simple and easy and supported. Once you've found your pose of rest for 3 breaths, inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale, sigh. Breath away. 2 more. Stay as long as you need to here today, as long as you have time for. Thank you so much again for joining me. Namaste.